I read a news article this morning and I got pissed off. I got mad. Still mad. Still angry about it. It makes me think, how can people think this way? How can people think this is okay? That kind of mindset. I don't know. Some of you may relate and know where I'm going with it. But it just pisses me off. I'm not going to share with you what the article is, or even the context, or the topic. Because I don't do that here. Come on. Sorry, opening the dog for my door. Open the dog for my door. I'm in good shape. God, opening the door for my dog, and he didn't want to come out. Anyway, I'm not sharing that with you, because that's not what I do here, and that's not what it's about. And I do want to talk about, though, how we deal with this kind of stuff, because there's a lot more going on than just that article. And sometimes, I think a couple things here. One is, how do we let go of things when they really get us irritated? And number two is, how do we discover what really might be going on? What else might be going on? Because it's rarely that one thing. This is D, and welcome to Uneven. How y'all doing? This is D, and I'm out here on my patio today. I got a little bit of stream running in the background. Sun is blazing hot. I'm underneath an awning, so in the shade a little bit. My dog just came outside, finally got him to come out. Murphy is laying in the yard right now in the beating sun at about 90 degrees with his bone. I think we're supposed to get up to close to 100 a day here in Colorado. A couple things I want to check in real quick with you. One is that I haven't talked to you in a long time. I know that. I know many people probably think the podcast is not on anymore or gone or whatever, and that's not the case. It's more just a lot of administrative work, a lot of stuff going on, trying to manage my workload lately. I'm trying to figure out where to spend my time best. We're trying to get the Uneven community moving quicker and moving forward, and we've been looking at a lot of stuff from marketing and PR and coaching and all this other stuff that's just out there, and we're working on and trying to set it up, and it's overwhelming, to say the least. This morning, Sunday, this is Sunday morning. Sundays are those days that my wife goes up to spend time with her mom usually, and goes to church, and they do some things. And so it's a day that I have here to work, and I usually get an extra day of work in. I had a colleague that was trying to talk me not to work, but then at the same time, all these projects come in and all these questions come in, and it's like I have to work, and it's like there's just too much going on, and I'm tired. I'm frustrated, trying to keep ahead of things, and it's difficult to do. And so when I read an article today that irritated me and got under my skin more than some have lately, although I always have ones. It didn't go well because I was already irritated and stressed, and sometimes when I'm emotional, I pick up my recorder and I talk to you. I hope you're okay with that. It's weird that, my audience for the podcast is my is my own therapist sometimes, because I think it's a lot like therapy, because, I don't really hear back. I hear back later from some of you with feedback, and I love that. But I don't hear any live feedback. And honestly, with a lot of therapists I've been with in the past, that's also been the case. There's not a lot of feedback. It's a place for you to vent, to talk about, and to work through things mentally. And that's, I think, what I'm doing mostly here. And that's okay. But I do think sometimes when we mentally work through these things, there's some revelations that come from that. There's some ideas that come from that. There's some beneficial information, maybe even some tools that come from that we can share with others that might be able to help others out. So I'm hoping this is useful. Sorry, it's been a while. Not intentional, just happens. We are looking to ramp back up with both podcasts and get them to be more frequent, even to start to do a weekly event within our sessions. It's just a lot of planning behind the scenes to make that stuff happen. But I don't know about you. Sometimes I get resentful when I have to work through the weekend. I did a little bit of work yesterday, a couple hours today. Plan on working most of the day, but I'm also trying to, do laundry and run errands and clean the house and do other stuff and all the stuff that goes with that. So it's just not where I want to spend my Sunday, but it's what I created, so it's my own fault. I mean, there's nobody here to blame but me. I launched a business, and it takes work to do that. And I'm not looking for sympathy. Oh my God, I know. I'm probably saying that, and people are still saying, well, yeah, then why are you talking about it? It's like, I know, maybe I am. But I'm really not. I know there's so many people that are struggling so much more than I am right now, and I'm extremely grateful for the gifts I have, for where I'm at, and what I have in my life. I really am. But I do think it's good to talk about, because I think so many of us, whether you're dealing with chronic anxiety, you're dealing with benzodiazepine or bind, withdrawal of some kind, and you just can't handle the stressors of the regular world out there, and you're getting overwhelmed. And overwhelmed is a good word. I get that a lot. I know not a lot of people listen to this podcast. There are probably less than 100 on a couple channels. I think I know the podcast channels, it goes out to more people, and I don't have those numbers, but on YouTube, we usually do less than 100 on some of these, and that's small. I know there's people out there that have podcasts that are in the millions. I get that, and I'm okay with that. I know some of the people that listen to my podcast find it valuable, and I appreciate that. Right now I'm watching Murphy, my dog, laying out here in the sun. He just got up and moved around again, and I don't think he's quite, put the connection of in the sun is one of the reasons why I pant so much, and I don't think he always puts that together. On occasion, I'll come out and then move over to the shade, but don't know that he always puts that together. So, but it is going to be a hot one today, and so I'll be doing errands and then working in the basement most of the day trying to get things done. But I wanted to check in with you and see how you're doing. It had been too long, and getting a podcast out is one more of those things I'd like to get done. And I thought, let's just pick up the recorder, record something, and maybe get it out in a couple of days here if I can. Do the best I can. We just had company in town for last week. Really good friend. Awesome hanging out with her. She's one of my wife's best friends, and just kind of hung out, did some stuff. But it's also good to have the house back to myself and quiet again. And sit out here on the porch for a little bit, even though it's a little toasty. And anyway, so back to that news article thing. Hang on, a dandelion that just flew by. Back to that news article thing. Where it takes me is a couple places. And the reason I opened with it is because of this, because it's on my mind, and so I talk about what's on my mind. For those of you who have been listening to the podcast, you understand that. That's what I do here. But I think one of the hardest things that with a lot of people I work with, and including yours truly, myself here, is letting go of things that eat at us. That news article is a perfect example. It riles me up. Now, the good news is I do let go of these things much quicker than I did when I first came off of Klonopin. That was a different story. I could read something in the news, and I would carry it for a couple days with me. And that's why I just pretty much detached from all news for about 5 years there. It was a while. Because I couldn't take it. I couldn't handle some of the stuff going on. And I'm kind of glad I did. At that time, it was too much. Now that I'm back and I read news and I watch TV and do other things, it still hits me. The difference is I don't carry it for days. I carry it for minutes, on occasion an hour or so, but it doesn't stick with me that long. And that's a huge gain, and I am very grateful for that gain. It didn't come automatically. Some of it did as we progress on our healing processes. These things do improve. But also it's tools that I worked on. It's mindfulness training I did, and I now have an upside down dog chewing on his bone. And it's things like this. It's Murphy laying upside down, spread eagle, chewing on his bone that's in the side of his mouth, and he doesn't care. Oh, wouldn't it be nice to be that way? He just doesn't care. He doesn't have the worries that we may carry with us. And I think that's pretty cool. But the thing about items like a news item or an event that happens in your life or whatever else is going on, there's a healthy process. There's a process we can do that is healthy. And there's an unhealthy process. And I think an unhealthy process is when we let it eat at us and we can't let go of it. And we cling to it voluntarily or involuntarily. We cling to it. And it just takes us down step by step by step into anxiety, depression, and who knows what else. Ruminations, looping thoughts, all that not so fun stuff. There's a healthy way. And it's not even distraction. I mean, distraction is, I think, beneficial in small doses here and there, but it's not an answer to what we go through. I think the answer is in between, and it's healthy processing. It's processing of whatever it is that sets you off. It's feeling the emotions that come with it, experiencing it. Oh, somebody's walking, so Murphy's probably going to bark. If you hear barking, it's because somebody walked by. We'll see. But it's processing this stuff and processing it in a healthy manner and allow it to pass. Boy, that's a big step, is allowing it to pass. And it's hard. And sometimes we don't want to allow it to pass. We think, well, yeah, but I got to do something about this. I got to fix this. You know, with this article, that's part of my mind goes, yeah, I got to say something to somebody. I got to tell them how I feel. Even though that won't make any difference. And I know it won't. In fact, it just add my voice to the angry voices out there. And I don't know that I need to add more anger. Wow, I just remembered, I got to go back and listen to Pema Chodron. Is one of the people I listen to a lot coming off Klonopin, a Buddhist nun who did some really good lectures and books and stuff. And I think she had a lecture called Don't Bite the Hook that I would listen to a few times, and I did it several times. And she was telling a story about a prisoner when she was doing some work with a prisoner, and he was telling her about watching the news, and they would keep clicking around the news, and the news was all these people. And I'm going to get it wrong, and I'm just going to paraphrase it, and I got a barking dog. So it's just more things on my plate right now that I'm trying to manage. But I should not let him bark. Anyway, Murphy, hey, let's go inside, bud. It's warm out here. Let's go inside. Come on, bud. Murphy, you're on the recorder, and they're hearing you bark, so they know. Let's go inside. Come on. Let's go inside. Hang on one second. Oh, no, you don't go between my legs. And yes, I know you want to be petted. I know you do. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? Yes, okay. You may have heard him panting. Let's go inside now. Okay. That's Murphy, my dog. Hang on a second. Okay, let's go inside. Yes, it's hot out here. You're panting again. Let's go into the AC. Okay, there you go. All right, things will get a little quieter. Anyway, okay. Can I get my mind back to where I was? 10-second Tom here. I'm not sure if I can get my mind back, but it was about processing, wasn't it? I think so. It was about processing things in a healthy manner. I was somewhere when I was talking about that. We get distracted by so many things, I know. I think there's a lot of reasons we hang on to things. I think sometimes it's just an emotional reaction. Sometimes it's subconscious. We don't really know why. It's just our minds are feeding us that negative energy, and it clings to it. Sometimes it's conscious. Sometimes we feel like if we don't do something about this, then it will continue, even though, as I mentioned, I was talking about Pema Chodron. That's what it was. See, I knew I'd get back there. Sometimes it's about wanting to do something about it. In this lecture that she did, she had talked about a prisoner that she had worked with, and this man had watched them flicking the TV in the prison, and there was, all this hubbub and angry, and it was a protest, and there was another channel and all this hubbub and something else going on. And then again, it was like all this hubbub and, just loud voices and everything. And it was, I think, Congress or something like that. And the point that this person made, it was all the same. It was all the same. It was all people yelling and angry. And where's that getting us? And I think there's some truth there. Some truth about learning to let go of things and realize not so much that we're powerless, because we're not. I know we can influence things, but instead to pick our battles and to not let our emotions control us, not let them rule us, not let them take us down. And that's what we do so often, I think. I know I do. Yes, I hear you panting. You were laying out in the sun. What do you think you were panting? Then you were barking at everything. Now go lay on the floor, pant for a bit, and you'll cool down. Okay? Okay. That's my dog. Not the smartest dog, but, he's a good boy. He's pretty smart, but he doesn't understand laying in the 100-degree heat may not be the best thing for cooling off. I don't know. But the point here is to process things, at least for me, and then to let things go. It's okay to think about things. I think all-out distraction and avoidance is never a long-term healthy goal. It can feel pretty good in the short term. I'm just not going to think about that. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to go to that party. I'm not going to go talk to that person. I don't want to deal with that issue. That's avoidance. And yeah, in the short run, it can be beneficial. In the long run, it can make things worse sometimes. Closing ourselves off from emotions, closing ourselves off from thought, typically is not the best route, at least in my opinion. Typically, the best route is experience it, process it, feel that emotion. These emotions, they're not going to kill you. Emotions don't do that. They're not pleasant sometimes. Oh, when my chest tightens up like it did this morning and I feel that tension and I want to do something and I just don't, I want to go talk to somebody and say, how can you think this way? And here I am, 30 minutes later, laughing as I'm talking to you. Why? Because I processed it and I let it go. And that's a huge, as I mentioned before, a huge progress from where I was. I may come back to this again some point. I might even say something at some point. I probably won't, though. Most of the time I let these things go and realize that this is not the time or place. Also, it's like if you jump into that, what's what I'm trying to think of? The, you know me, my brain, it tries to find that just really good word. And that really good word, I can't even find the good word for what I'm trying to say, good word. That really good word. And to make myself sound educated or something, And half the time I can't pull one, so I just have to let it go and move forward. And then, of course, as I'm trying to find that good word, I even lose complete track of what I was thinking about, which I just did again. Welcome to Benzo Brain, or Aging Brain, or just Brain or AI Brain, which is a new thing now. Oh my God. It's just brain stuff, Our brains atrophy sometimes when they're not used. Our brains can get damaged by different things, medications, by age, by injury, by all kinds of things. And we have to adapt to how we are at the time. AI, I know, is a big one. I've talked about that. I had this. I was going to talk about this. This is something I want to dive into. So now I can talk about this one. This is one I'm willing to talk about, is AI. And yes, I'm going to touch on it for a second. I know I put out an article. I know some of you are probably rolling your eyes as soon as I bring up the subject, and I get it. But I may not be going where you think I'm going. So just hang with me for a second, okay? I see things happening. We all see things happening. Unlike that 5 years when I was really out of touch because I was letting myself heal, and triggers like this were too hard for me to adapt to. Now I actually embrace the world as much as I can, and I try to pay attention to things and do that kind of stuff. And then, he tries to remember where he was going again. What the hell am I doing? This is a good day. My wife has been doing this too lately, a lot lately. Have any of you been doing that where you just really have lost your ability to think a little bit? I don't know, for a long time I was all benzos, but then my wife has it too, and she doesn't have that experience. And then of course, long COVID. I do think part of it, long COVID, there's definitely something tied there with mental difficulties and fatigue especially. But I think there's other things going on too. I just read the article. This is where I was going. See, I could loop back, and I found my place again. I came back around and found my place again. What I was trying to say about the AI thing was I posted this article, and I had this article sitting for over a month in my draft folder on my website. And it was the one that I think was Mental Health in the Age of AI is the title. If you want to go check it out, go visit us at our website at unevenlife.com. That URL forwards to our old URL, easinganxiety.com, which is where the website still is, but it will eventually all move under unevenlife.com. That's just more work I need to do when I get around to it. Anyway, and if my colleagues are hearing me ramble on about too much work, no, don't come writing to me tomorrow and saying, oh my God, you need to take whatever. No, don't do that. It's like, this is just me rambling. I'm venting. Just let me vent for a little bit. It's okay. We all need to vent sometimes. We all need to do it. But I posted that one. It took me a while because I kept rewriting it and I kept thinking, how's I do it? And I don't know, I really liked what I had in the end, but it was about AI and about how it's really affecting our humanity and some of the downsides of it, I'll admit. And in the end, I kind of focused on our own imperfections. And I think that's a key thing there, because as computers take over more of things that go on, and we know that's happening. That's not something that may happen. That's happening, and it's going to get progressively more significant. As computers take over more tasks and jobs and everything, we're going to have difficulty differentiating what's real and what's not, and what's human and what's not. And in that article, I mentioned imperfection. And I started wondering if our own imperfections are going to be almost our signature at some point. It's going to be our signature. And when I get mad about this, news article this morning I read, I realize it's not just that article. It's other articles, and it's other news, and it's other things going on, and it's AI, and it's all these things that I have in my brain that are bothering me and stressing me out. And I think about these things. And it's not nonstop, and I'm not always stressed, and sometimes I'm just curious and I'm just thinking for fun. But it's still, our brains are active. And for those of you, like myself and many of you who have anxiety, our brains are hyperactive most of the time. We would really love to have that off switch. If you've ever thought, I just wish to hell I had a switch that I could turn off and my brain would fucking stop, then welcome to the club. And yes, I just swore, so suddenly now I have to mark up this podcast, but I don't care. I'm going to do it sometimes. So this one's going to get a little tick when I post it that it has some language in it. So be it. I said fuck, and there it is. Okay. Because I got to be me. And finally I posted the article because my colleague said to me something really important. She finally said I needed to be myself. And as much as I know that is such a vital part of me right now in this journey and everything I'm doing here, I still forget it. I still forget that part when it comes down to a question. I know a lot of people within my own community roll their eyes at when I talk about AI because I sound like a broken record, and I am a broken record, and I don't mean to do that. And I don't even mean to be negative about it. It's just I don't believe ever in the history of mankind have we seen this dramatic of a change happening this rapidly and having this much of an effect on humanity. I don't think anything's ever come close to it. Yeah, we had industrial age, we had all these different ages that have hit over time, but these happened over a period of time. They didn't suddenly happen, and the change was nothing like what's happening right now. So this is dramatic. We live in I've heard many people say that 2025 will be remembered in history as the year that things really started to change, and I think there's some validity to that. See? I could pull out a bigger word. I know I have those bigger words every now and then. That one came to me. But I think AI feeds the stress, and I do read things about it, and I'm curious about it. A lot of my reading is not so much doomsday or looking for the negative things. It's more just curious about it. I think it's fascinating. I think it's interesting, even though I do think in the end it's going to be more of a negative towards humanity than a positive. That's just my take on it, and I might be wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong about this. And I know people that I work with think I'm wrong, and that's okay. But I don't know. Back to my point, though, was we have a lot on our minds, a lot going on. I got the job I'm trying to keep up with and everything else that I'm trying to stay above water with, and people that are counting on me now, and that's a big thing. I got people counting on me, and it's important. I want to do well for the people who have decided to come on board of what we're doing here and have faith in me. And, and it's so funny because I know all these other people out here that have these other organizations and sites that help with benzos or antidepressants or help with anxiety or help with whatever else, and these sports sites and these other people and some psychiatrists, and I could just ramble off names. I'm not going to. And I think they do amazing work. I think they really do, and I'm so glad they're there. But I also know I don't think any of them would get on the podcast like I do and just be as honest as I am right now. I think some of them do in their sessions, but not just out to the world. And because I know it's like, who wants to come, and work with somebody who's, not perfect? And it's like, hey, we're not perfect. And I've made that clear when I launched Uneven. It's like, we are still figuring this path out. And I believe all of us are figuring this path out. I think some of us put that persona forward. Some of us in our community, some of the leaders of, hey, we know the answers. Come talk to us. I can get you through this. And my persona is this: I don't know the answers. One of the slogans I try to use on our site is, I don't have the answer for you. I don't have the path to healing for you. I don't have that. Personally, I don't believe anybody has that. But we would love to work with you to help you find the right path through this difficult time. That's where I come from. That's where I think our organization is. And we're not perfect. And we're going to make mistakes. We know a lot. I mean, we have a lot of people in our organization that are incredible and have amazing backgrounds. Many of them were harmed by different medications, and as they start to heal, they want to give back and have joined on board. And I'm blown away by their credentials and their background, and they're willing to provide that information to our members, and I think that's incredible, and I love that. But none of us have the answer. There's not the answer. So be cautious of that when you see it. And I mentioned this before. I do sound like a broken record sometimes, because these thoughts ruminate in my head and I still spew them out sometimes. But my point was, I don't hear anybody else on a podcast just sharing their failings, their frailties, the screw-ups, the warts and all that I talk about on here, that this is me, warts and all. And I'm sure some of them do it in their communities, and I think that's great. I hope so. But I just, I think when we do podcasts, we do that. We try to sound like we know the answers because we want people to come to us for solutions. I know some answers. I know some solutions. I know some tools. I know some techniques. I know a lot of people's histories of this, and I've experienced through the podcasts and book and everything else I've done, heard from so many people that are going through difficulties, and and help some of them out. And we do that. But that's why Neven is founded on a community. And that's why I'm focused there on the community. It's about members of our community helping other members of our community. That's our foundation. We're the guides. We help to steer the ship a little bit. We help to moderate. We keep the sessions going. We keep the site going. And we provide information. Sometimes just from things we already know. Sometimes from research we do to provide information. And courses and coaching we're going to be adding here soon. But I'm not going to blindly say to you that I have the answer. Because I have never seen one answer that works with this. I've seen some rules that are generally good to try to follow. Happy to provide those for you. But rarely ever is there an adamant thing that this is always the best way to go about it. If you hear this humming in the background, it's laundry because I'm also doing laundry today. So that's the dryers or the washer spinning, I think. In case you hear sounds, that's what's going on just in the background. And I don't know, I'm rambling, as I always do. I'm already at 30 minutes. Dang, I can talk, and I can talk. And I haven't talked in a while. And I don't know really what I'm saying today. I dive into these things with something that started like today, the news article and stuff. And I dive in and I think, okay, this is going to take me someplace poignant and impressive and and earth-shattering. Maybe not earth-shattering, but beneficial to everybody. And sometimes I have to kind of, I don't know, squeeze it out of there a little bit because I don't know that I always find it. I think my cornerstone of all this is, I'm going to come back to overwhelm. I think overwhelm is a good, I just decided that. I did not have that going in. I'm going to tile this into overwhelm. So there we go. Again, these things are raw, unfiltered, because it's just me talking to you. I haven't done an overnight one where I was laying in bed and can't sleep, but I'm sure an insomnia night's coming up again soon, and I'll do one when I have those. I know people seem to enjoy those. This is more of a, I'm sitting around. I thought it'd be a day in the life, but a day in the life means I would have recorded a little bit, and then a little bit later, and a little bit later, and I'm just still rambling, so I think this is going to be a one-off, full all-out session. But let's go back to overwhelm, and that is one of the most persistent. Oh, there's the music. But it's also my signal that I need to go change out laundry in a second. Overwhelm. This is where I'm at right now. I am completely and utterly overwhelmed. And that's why I picked up the recorder today. And sometimes my response to overwhelm is just to ramble about a million different things. Trying to get back to a core, trying to figure my way through, trying to find the answers, when often there are none. But overwhelm's one of the things I deal with. Quite often, actually, especially lately. And I know I'm complaining. I was about to say I don't want to complain, but I am complaining. So I'm going to call myself out on that. But I'm not looking for sympathy because I know my life still is so much better right now than so many people in our audience and people who are listening. So these are good problems to have. It's problems of being busy. And that's because I have a community I started that I love working with the people on. And I'm just trying to find balance and build a team. And honestly, what I'm going through is just what any entrepreneur goes through. I'm trying to build a business, a community, a support system for people. And that takes a lot of work. So there are worse problems to have. So there's lesson number 1 with overwhelm. Count your blessings. Be grateful. Have gratitude. Realize that you are still probably so much better off than so many other people right now. And even if you're not, just be grateful for the things you do have. I have a beautiful home. I have a loving dog and a loving wife who is, taking care of her mom and just going, again, overwhelmed, trying to handle all the things in her life right now. And I'm just trying to support her on that. I have a great team at Uneven who are just been incredible to work with, and I can't say enough good things about it. And we keep growing that team, and it's, oh man, I just love the environment there, and I love the people, and the members at Uneven are just so, I can't say enough about you all. Every session I do with them, I always take something away from it. So that's good. That's really good. So I'm not looking to complain, even though I sound like I am. But do I get overwhelmed? Yes, quite often. Quite often. And I have to process that. And I have to find a way to pull back from it. I have to find a way to balance my life. And that's a cornerstone also of Uneven. It's a cornerstone of overwhelm, is finding balance. And how do you find balance? You find balance by figuring out your priorities. What's 1? What's 2? What's 3, 4, 5? Maybe you go to 10, maybe you go to 20, but 5 is a good number just to start with. What are the 5 most important things in your life? And then take a look. Where are you spending your time? Are you spending your time on those items? Are you spending your time elsewhere? And if so, why? I know my number 1 is my marriage with my wife. That's number 1, period. Behind that is probably my health. And I've been horrible at taking care of my health. Horrible. So why am I not spending more time on that? That's a good question. I spent so long coming off of Klonopin. And to give myself where I'm at, why am I not spending more time on my health right now? And I've started to. So I am chipping away at that. Number 3 is my business. Uneven life. The community we have there, the podcasts, everything else we're doing, the research teams I'm on. That's number 3. That business is important. Number 4 is probably my home. Oh, and just by the way, when I said marriage, that meant also my family, so which includes my dog, an extended family. So I'm going to put that up at number 1. All that's part of it. So Murphy's in there. I just didn't want him to be excluded. And 4 and 5, yeah, they're just other things in life. But I realize my number 1 thing is my marriage. It's the best thing in my life right now, and has been for years, and I love that. And second is health. Probably, I know many people think that health should be first, and maybe for those people it is, but I get more of the marriage than I do the health, but the health is right behind it, and I know that's important. And then the work I do. But most of my time is spent with my work. And I think that's good, especially when you're launching something, but maybe I need to take a look at the balance of where I spend my time. Oh, I don't know if you heard that or not. That is if you heard that, I'm not even going to mention what it was. If you heard that, that was my dog, just so you know. And there's my train whistle, which is see, this is what's fun. The laundry song just went off. I need to go change out laundry. My dog is sitting, passing gas at the door. I can say farting, because I've already said fuck, so I can say farting. He is at the door farting in this high-pitched sound. My phone is whistling at me, which is probably my wife, which is my top priority, which I should be taking to instead of talking to you right now. And this is the Sunday. This is the days. And I'm sharing this with you because I know I'm not alone. I know this is the day for so many of us, especially if you have family around, if you have kids or parents you're taking care of, if you have a jobs you're trying to take care of, if you're trying to recover from benzos or some other medication, you're dealing with anxiety, you're dealing with the world around you, you're watching news, you're trying to deal with all kinds of complications. Sometimes we have to sit back and laugh at it. And laugh at it. Overwhelm can eat you up. It really can. But there's a lot of ways we can deal with it too. There's a lot of ways we can manage it, and there's a lot of ways we can process it and realize this is what's really important. Is this being done? Is this being met? And if so, Everything else is gravy. Everything else is gravy. All right. I'm going to have a really good closing here. I am absolutely sure of it, even though I never really do, but I'm just saying it with confidence. But I'm going to pop off for a second, and I'm going to check the laundry, I'm going to check my dog, and I'm going to check my phone. And while I do, let's pop in the disclaimer right now. But I'm going to come back and still talk some more, so don't sign off right now. But allow me about 30 seconds for our disclaimer, and I'll be right back. Thanks.
Hey, this is Dee. Sorry for this brief interruption. I do need to remind everyone that this podcast is for informational purposes only and should never be considered medical, psychological, or professional health advice of any kind. If you or someone you know is dealing with significant mental health issues, please seek professional help. Resources can be found in our show notes and on our website at unevenpodcast.com. And now, back to the podcast.
And I am back. Laundry wasn't quite ready. The music was the washer, not the dryer. The dryer will be ready in a few minutes. Murphy is outside, and the text was not my wife. It was actually my friend from Iowa who listens to this podcast. And he forwards me memes every now and then, some pretty funny stuff, and I just want to say thank you. Because those do help lighten that load, that overwhelm. Humor is such a huge gift. Such a huge gift, and I just wanted to say thank you, since that just came through. So I am back sitting down for a few minutes so I can close things out, but I don't know. I would just start to say, I wonder what this all means. I wonder where we're going to wind up. I really think this world 5-10 years from now is going to look so much different. And our lives will be so much different, but I don't even know what that's going to be, and I don't even know if we're going to adapt well to it. I think it's curious. I'm interested in it, but I have some reservation, as you all know, so we'll see what happens. But I think there is a way to process this life, even as crazy and chaotic as it is. I think there's a way to pull yourself out a little bit, or even a lot, and observe what's going on around you. And maybe that's my next step with the overwhelm, with the world's changing, with news, is to step back and watch the circus. That's probably a line somebody else has used before. I don't know. But it's a line I'm using right now, so I didn't mean to steal it if it's somebody else's. But I think I'm going to step back and watch the show. Step back and try to watch the circus and be part of it. Be part of the world. Participate in it. But don't let it own you. That right there, I think, is one of the biggest lessons I learned along the way. And I think I got that from some of my meditations and some Buddhism that I studied along the way. Buddhism helped me come through some of this. I've studied Christianity, Buddhism, I've studied all kinds of different spiritualities and psychological approaches and philosophies, and yeah, I take a little bit from each one, but Buddhism helped me a lot when I was first coming off medication, and I think that's one of those things that made sense to me. It made sense to me, which is, it's a game, it's a show, it's a circus. And sometimes you got to pull back a little bit and just watch. Still participate when you need to now and then, but realize that it is just a game. However you want to take that. I don't know. For me, that helps a little bit to pull back and say, everything's going to be okay. It's going to work out. One way or the other, it's going to work out. Probably not a lot I can do to steer it one way or the other. So why am I obsessing so much? Why am I so overwhelmed? Take it one step at a time. One piece at a time. One task at a time and do what you can. I feel a little better. I've almost completely let go of the article thing. In fact, just now as I was closing out with it, I'm trying to remember what it was. So you can see that progression already from when I first started recording this. The overwhelm, it's going to be there. It's just like the anxiety. We never get rid of it, nor should we. It has benefits. It's learning how to manage it. It's learning how to deal with it is the real secret. It's learning how to not let it own you. That's the real secret. Come check us out at Uneven Life. unevenlife.com, or just even uneven.life will take you right to our landing page to come check us out. 7 days free. You can come see what we're doing. We'd love to have your company and check out what's going on. We help people both coming off of benzodiazepine meds. We also work with antidepressants somewhat, but we have a lot of focus on benzos. And we also work with people just straight up anxiety, chronic anxiety issues. And we're starting to deal with people that are having some conditions related to technology and AI, because that's causing a lot of problems right now. And I think it's good to have a place where people can come and talk through that with other people who are open, not judging, and also get it and might have some feedback that might help. That's all we do at Uneven. So come check us out if you get a chance. I think that's it for now. I am going to sign off. And hopefully the next day or two, if I find a window somewhere, I'll get this edited and get it out. It might be a few days, but we'll see how that goes. I got to work on some software integration today, so I got to do that first. But it's been too long, and I promise it won't be so long this next time. I do miss these. I miss having the chance to talk with you, and I thank you for spending this time with me. For me on this Sunday afternoon, for you, who knows? Who knows where you're listening to it, but I have to go and get my dog now from outside because he's barking at people walking by. And I got to run up and get him some dog food and run some errands, and I need to get back to work all before my wife comes home, so, and finish laundry and all that stuff, so don't even get me started. But I'm not going to let it own me, and I'm not going to let it overwhelm me. But I am going to go tell my dogs to stop barking. So you all take care, and I will talk to you real soon. I promise. So long. Murphy, come on, buddy. Let's go inside. Stop barking at everybody. You can't be out here barking. No, we have to go inside. Yes, we do. Yes. Come on, inside. It's too hot out here anyway, buddy. There you go. Go inside. Go inside. Thanks, buddy.